let's get back to this board meeting here. Before we move forward with it, I think a little more explanation needs to be made about the bullshit that the Sioux has been spewing, and we've been listening to him saying, well, the best thing is if we can have an agreement. If we can have an agreement, the best decision is if we can agree to decide. Well, let's look at this properly, which is this, okay? There's only one way to look at this. This is the only way. It's the factual way. And I'm not sure why the media doesn't. Well, the media is not going to help unions. You know that. The media is owned by the neoliberal institutions. Here's the facts. The facts are Trimet has an apprenticeship program, okay? The next fact is Trimet wants to get rid of the apprenticeship program, okay? So what do you want? He says to the union and all the people before him, we are taking away union work, and they've been doing this for over a decade now. So when he says it would be good if we had a negotiated plan here, if we can come to an agreement. Well, the agreement is there is nothing to agree on. Okay, it's either his way or the highway. They're the ones that are pushing to end the apprenticeship program. That's Trimet. So when he says it would be nice if we had an agreement, he wants the union to agree to get rid of the program. And why in the world would the union agree to get rid of the apprenticeship program? They wouldn't. So it's disingenuous. It's basically a lie because he's not being honest about what's happening here. What's happening here is Trimet has been cutting the unions since the day McFarland took over. And I remember that day, okay? I was there, and I've been following this shit virtually every day since. So I know what's going on. I don't just remember yesterday. I have a historical view here. And so when he says we want to come to a joint decision, he's lying, because a joint decision is, yes, you want the union to agree to dismantle the apprenticeship program. And that's not going to happen. And why would it happen? Why would they do that? You know, it's bad enough that they got finessed into giving up their right to strike. And so, yeah, that's just a bull-faced lie. I want to put that out there. When he says it would be good if we came to a joint decision, he means give away the apprenticeship program. Okay, they're the ones that brought this up. It all came from Trimet. We want to get rid of the apprenticeship program. Well, they're saying it costs too much money or whatever, which is a bold-faced lie, okay? And he's a liar, okay? This man here, we know who he is now. Didn't take long, did it? It sure didn't take long to find out who he is. And he's just the new boss, and he's the same as the old boss.
Safe and welcoming system for all. President Warner, I appreciate your help and leadership through all of this. And I just want to extend a big thank you to everyone who made this a reality.
Yes, he's just baloney, man. And he's not even entertaining. I mean, Dougie was a little entertaining at least, okay? He had some entertainment value. McFarland was horrible. Fred Hansen couldn't do public speaking to save his life, but he was entertaining.
With that said, that concludes my report for this morning.
Yeah, it was a terrible general manager.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Any further comments or questions?
That was a terrible report. Most of it was fluff.
I'm hearing none. How's the board doing?
I just wanted to give kudos to our interim general manager as well. He's done a great job stepping in not knowing that was going to be his responsibility currently, in addition to his CEO responsibility. So thank you very much, Sam, for the work that you're doing also.
Appreciate it. All right, so I know that a number of us, at least 3 of us, have been at this since 8 o'clock. Do we need to take a quick 5-minute break, or should we just forge ahead here? I'm not seeing anybody break. Yes or thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm not.
Thumbs up for a break.
Okay, let's take 5-minute break. Let's come back 11:25 or so, and then we can get right into the.
Okay, move up. Good, let's move it up.
So we'll have to move through here, or we'll have a less than a full board to take on action on some of the items.
Come on, Bruce, move it along. Move it. Just keep going.
In your packets today. So with that, is there any item on the consent agenda that any board member wishes to have removed?
What do they got on there?
I'm hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second, this is Lori.
So it was Linda and Lori. Is that what I heard? All right. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, then let's call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nobody.
Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Let's move on then to our resolutions. The first resolution is Resolution 21-03-09, which is approving the general manager position description, job description, excuse me. And we've had a lot of discussion about that already today. Director Baumann, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this before I'll ask for a motion?
No, nothing else to add. Thank you for considering this. It's the product of a lot of work by the search committee.
And this really starts the process. This is our formal start by adopting this. So is there a motion to approve Resolution 21-03-09?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Way. Any further discussion on this agenda item or the position description?
Okay.
I want to simply say thank you to the community at large, all of the individuals that called in, wrote in, that sent in surveys, that participated in the forums. I want to thank the board members that helped us in the listening sessions as well, to the staff for helping us orchestrate listening sessions and making it easy for board members to step in and participate. When Director Baumann says, you know, this is the results of a large effort,
What is this
it
now?
is no joke.
Oh, this.
As far as all the ears.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Okay, this whole general manager thing, I find this ridiculous. It's absurd. I mean, what the hell you know, like this means something? What does this mean? It means nothing. It's total public relations.
That have been put around the community to bring this together, and you know, I feel comfortable in saying this helps.
They've had a general manager for 50 years, and somehow they think that they're going to change this piece of paper, and that's going to somehow do something. That's such bullshit, man. Anybody that falls for this marketing is just an idiot.
Bring a clearer picture to what we're looking for, and hopefully will help us get closer to finding them. Thank you.
Why don't
Thank
you
you.
take it, Ozzy? You can do it.
Director Edwards, is your hand up again?
No, it's not up. I was just waiting to vote aye.
All right, well, I'm going to go to that. So unless there's further comments, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve Resolution 21-03-09, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Congratulations to the committee, and thank you again for your hard work on this. This was a lot of work, and I don't think people understand how many hours went into what you've got in front of you today, so thanks. All right. So before we go to the next resolution, I am going to have to convene the Trimet board as the Trimet Budget Committee. This is something that's in our bylaws and I think in state law. And so we can now consider this agenda item, which is Resolution 21-03-10, which is approving the proposed fiscal year 2022 annual budget for submission to the Multnomah County Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission.
Yeah, and this is bureaucracy gone wild. So they send it to another board. They send it to the Metro board. They got two layers of bureaucracy here. which is like Portland is just so bureaucratized. It's really hard to believe.
TSCC, as we lovingly call it. Mr. General Manager, do you or your staff have any further input on this item?
Yes, President Warner and members of the board. As you know, as part of the annual budgeting process, Oregon law requires Trimet to obtain board approval for the proposed budget before you. And it is submitted to the Multnomah County Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission, or the TSCC, for their review in advance of the public hearing next month. Once analyzed and approved by the TSCC following the public hearing, the budget is returned to the board for consideration and approval. The resolution before you now outlines Trimet's proposed budget for fiscal year 2022, which begins July 1st, 2021, and runs through June 30th, 2022. It's a $1.64 billion proposal.
$1.64 billion.
It includes $733.7 million for operations, including $54 million for OPEB, other post-employment benefits, and $126.5 million for debt service, and $301.2 million for capital and operating projects. Under this budget, Trimet will continue critical capital maintenance projects and service improvements based on demand and as our customers come back. The budget does not include a base fare increase for the 9th straight year. Those who have trouble paying full fare can apply for our low-income fare program, which is also found in the budget. There are currently about 24,000 active members in the program who have unlimited access to the system for $28 a month. The deadline for submission on the proposed budget to the TSCC is this Friday, just 2 days away. And your approval of the resolution is recommended.
Well, obviously.
Dee Brookshire, our CFO, is here to answer any questions that you may have about this process or proposed budget before you. Thank you.
Do we have any questions or comments of either Sam or our Chief Financial Officer on this item? I'm hearing none. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 21-03-10?
$1.64 billion, folks.
Who was the second?
Okay, remember they cut bus service 80%. Now they cut it to 90%. But the budget is $1.64 billion, and I believe that's even higher than last year. I believe it is. I have to look it up, but I think their budget is more.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a second.
It was Lori and Linda.
Lori and Linda.
Well, this is Lori. I'll second.
Okay, very good. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this item?
I had a
Gonzalez.
Thank you. Yes, I was just trying to look through the document to find my question. I appreciate it. This is just a. I wasn't clear on one piece of it, and this is granted. I don't sit on the finance committee, so I don't get to see a lot of the sort of the process of the baking process, as it were. And it was just about the issuance of bonds, and I wasn't clear. There's an anticipated bond issuance built into the budget, but I didn't know if that was essentially already planned for, and if there was another step in the process of review from the board before that would be issued, or does approval of this now essentially constitute it? It will happen at some point and it's already baked in. So I just didn't know if that was a maybe or it's a done deal.
Sure. Good question, Director Gonzalez. So you would have an opportunity to approve any bond issuance that's done. We put this into the budget so that if the market determines that it's advantageous for us to issue, we will. If you recall, some months ago, you did approve a plan for us to issue bonds for the Better Red project in fiscal year 20. We haven't done that yet because the cash flow requirements don't say.
Better Red should be canceled, but it won't be
yet, and we're trying to push it to fiscal year 22 if possible. But it's in the budget now so that we can take advantage of it. It doesn't mean we have to do it. And you certainly will have a chance to review and approve before it goes further.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this
Okay,
is,
I'm looking at the 2018-19 budget, and that budget was $1,010,000. So from 2018 to 2018-19 budget to 21-22, their budget has increased by a half a billion dollars, by $500 million. Okay, so what do you think of that? That's interesting, isn't it? I'm looking right at it here.
This not so much a question. I just want to kind of point this out, and I don't know where in the process to do so. During the business plan presentation, there was some talk about alignment with the budgeting process and how there's a parallel process between the business plan and the budgeting so that they reconcile one another. And I just want to flag this for the public and for the board. It's something that I believe is a place where we can look a little deeper moving forward. It does have budget implications. And in the budget plan so far, it stood out to me as an area for improvement. So I simply want to point out in the financial policies that we have some strategic financial policies that really provide some guardrails for performance. And I know that we address them in, how much contingency to build in, how to sort of build an unrestricted fund balance, timeline that helps us protect ourselves. And there's some very specific numbers around those strategic policies. When we get to fair policy, I feel like there's a lack of specificity or guardrails that we can build from to have a conversation about what fair policy could look like in addressing the concerns that we have from a budgetary side and that the community has from a customer service and access side. So I'd love to see, though there's no constraint on my side, I can live with our plan as we have. I want to be clear. I see areas for improvement, and I think we as the board should look at the fair policy built into the strategic financial policies more closely to really see if we can get the agency some guardrails to strive for. Right now, we're not proposing any changes to the fares, but we also know that we haven't fully answered what the fair policy should look like so that we're continuing to reconcile ourselves. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I like that, Ozzy.
I thank you for the time.
Oh, Ozzy, don't be so polite.
Sure, you're speaking about the strategic financial plan guidelines, and there's a section in there on fair revenue, but the fair policies are something that are subject to...
Dee Brookshire is very good. She knows what she's doing. This woman knows what she's doing.
Review.
Of course, she holds back a lot of information when she speaks publicly. She's like the rest of them. These are professional dodgers. They dodge questions. That's why they make all this money, so they can, the ability to dodge the truth and not tell a lie. It's a very tough skill to find people that are good at that.
Every year, happy to take a deeper look at that and consult with folks in public affairs and other parts of the area of the organization to see if we can get some more specificity into that. Sounds like a separate...
Come on, Ozzy, don't take no shit from her. You stand up and tell her what you want. You say, I, Ozzy, want X, Y, Z in here.
Board item, separate from the budget, though.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to talk about maybe after we get through the GM selection process.
There goes Bruce pushing that conversation ahead. That's what he does, man. He doesn't like any kind of dissent, or he pushes that conversation right along
to see if we can have somebody help an effort there, because I've often had that same feeling for the last 9 years.
Why doesn't Bruce become general manager? He's fucking had every other goddamn job in the goddamn. He's been a city manager. He's been some county fucking property deal. I don't know. He's been all over the place in government. Why doesn't he just take the damn job?
Really well taken.
He's an insider. He's connected.
Further comments or questions? Linda?
Bruce?
Mm-hmm. Director Simmons, please ahead.
Yeah. To also add to that, within the business plan is a plan for a overall review of the fare structure. So that currently resides within the business plan.
Linda's always defending the status quo. I don't like her.
All right. I'm feeling like ready to call for a vote here.
Yeah, vote.
All right.
Everybody
All those in favor of the motion to
favor.
approve Resolution 21-03-10, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously.
Yep.
Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to adjourn the Trimet Budget Committee and reconvene as the Trimet Board of Directors for the next resolution,
What a bunch of
which is Resolution 21-03-11,
Yeah.
which is authorizing modification to a
Yeah.
contract with.
They're giving away some more pork. They've already got a contract with these people, but you know how it works at the capital projects. There's always more to be had at capital projects. There's no such thing as an actual bid because they can come back and get more anytime. It's like the exact opposite of what real people face.
With WSP USA Inc. for design services for the Division Transit Project.
So they don't even, what are the Trimet employees doing? They have all this shit contracted out. What the hell is the Trimet? What goes on in the capital projects if everything is contracted out?
Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, President Warner and Board. This resolution before you now requests a contract modification
They call it a
with WSP USA for design services for the Division Transit
They don't even
Project.
design their own shit.
Construction of the Division Transit Project is well underway and is currently estimated at about 40% completion, with the opening of the new high-capacity bus service between downtown Portland and Gresham. It's on track to begin in the fall of 2022. That leaves about 18 more months of construction. The work is complex, due in part to the nature of Division Street, which has underground utilities that must be carefully navigated.
Yeah.
This has led to a number of unforeseen design changes and exceptions. As a result, the project has exhausted the existing design budget faster than anticipated. The project team worked with WSP to develop a budget for the remainder of the project. Under this resolution, the contract authority would increase by $1.7 million to just under $12 million. The design costs are considered fair and reasonable, and they will be covered by the project's available grant-based contingency. In its proposal, WSP estimated would use certified subcontractors for 20% of the work and has thus far achieved 26.5% DBE participation.
You see how they do it now? They hand out the pork. Okay, I'm not against this. I'm okay with it. You give the pork to people that have been generationally deprived of pork. So they're giving the pork out to some, what do they call them, disadvantaged business? Minority-owned businesses. It's okay, but it's pork. It's pork is pork is pork is what I'm trying to say here. All right? Why don't you give the pork to the goddamn riders? Or how about the dispossessed in the ditch?
Your approval is recommended. Steve Witter is available for any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Does the board or have any questions for Sam or for Steve?
Who's this?
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve Resolution 21-03-11?
Give it away. Give the money away.
So moved.
Is there a
Give
second?
the money away. Who cares, right?
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve Resolution 21-03-11, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
opposed?
Nobody's opposed.
Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
How much money was that?
Moving on, then, the next resolution is Resolution
What's the next one?
21-3, should be 0312, I believe, right? 0312.
All right. What are you doing
Authorizing an
here?
amendment to an intergovernmental agreement IGA with the city of
$9 million
Portland
for the
streetcar
fucking streetcar,
operations.
which they shouldn't have to
Mr.
pay
General
money for.
Manager.
Thanks, President Warner. Trimet and the City of Portland enjoy a unique relationship with Portland Streetcar. Trimet is responsible for operations and maintenance. The services are provided under the overall direction of the city and not Trimet. The resolution before you would execute amendment number 12 to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Portland for streetcar operations. Essentially, what that does is authorize Trimet's share of funding for the Portland streetcar for fiscal year 2022. The total amount is about $8.874 million. It was established by the Streetcar Permanent Executive Group, or PEG, and includes Trimet executives, directors, and managers, PBOT streetcar managers, and the executive director of the Portland Streetcar. It takes into account Trimet's share of costs for funding, personnel, and other service for day-to-day operations of the streetcar. And it follows the guidance outlined in the Streetcar Master Agreement, which was adopted in 2012. I ask for your Brett Rogers and Nancy Young Oliver is available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Questions by the board on this kind of continuation of our long-standing agreement with the city?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
It's more of just a historical trend. I see the essentially annual contract has kind of been pretty level. How has the pandemic shifted operations at the streetcar, or in what way have resources sort of shifted? And that's just to help me understand that. We know certainly it's affected us across the agency. Have you had layoffs, changes in operations? Those are the kinds of questions.
Okay. Good morning, President Warner and directors of the board. Some of the changes mainly have occurred around COVID-19 and cleaning. We haven't laid anybody off within streetcar, and those are our employees. Service is down, but it's only down about 10%, so we are still continuing with service. The ridership is actually increasing downtown because of the density of downtown. And so basically the operations is pretty much flat, staying the same. We did forecast less service next year, but just a little bit. So everything's pretty much going to stay flat as it stands right now. And we're working with streetcar, trying to follow the same policies and guidelines around COVID-19 and the CARES Act.
Thank you. You're muted, President Warner.
Thank you. I'm saying that answered your question, I hear. So is there any further questions by the board on this resolution? Not seeing any. Is there then a motion to approve resolution 21-03-12?
So moved. Linda.
Is there a second?
Second, Laverne.
Laverne, thank you. All right. So is there any further discussion on this item?
Come on, Laverne, we want to hear from you.
Question then. All those in favor of the motion to approve resolution number 21-03-12, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. Hearing none, the motion is approved unanimously. I'm going to start this next resolution, but I'm going to turn the meeting over to Director Bauman because I have to leave here in just about a moment.
Oh,
so
you see what's going to happen? Bauman is going to be the next chairwoman. Oh, they got a guy right here, Ozzy Gonzalez, who's really much better than she will be. And they're not going to do it. They're going to let her have it. I can't stand that woman. Why don't you get somebody on that chairman of the board that's not white establishment?
Resolution is resolution 21-03-13, which is authorizing a contract with Ortiz and Associates, Inc. for Lafayette pedestrian bridge maintenance and repair services. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, President Warner, and hope you have a great day. Now we turn to the Lafayette Pedestrian Bridge. This is a structure that's not far from the Trimet Center Street headquarters on 17th Avenue. It was built as part of the Max Orange Line project and provides safe access for pedestrians and people using mobility devices to cross above the heavy railroad tracks at Brooklyn Yard. It is especially popular with school kids in the area. The bridge was designed with lots of glass, security cameras, elevators, and other amenities with safety in mind. With all of these factors at play, Trimet determined that an outside contractor would be instrumental in the ongoing maintenance and upkeep of the bridge.
Yeah, see, now this is another, here you have another contracting out of something that should be in-house. You know, why do they just contract out everything they can? You know, this is the way they are. This is one of the worst neoliberal organizations going, man. That should be in-house, okay? It's just goddamn maintenance. But, you know, this is how it goes here.
For this contract, we've selected Ortiz and Associates through an invitation to bid process. The contract covers a 5-year term and comes in just...
That's all they do over there is hand out money. Okay, that's a great job if you get a job working for them, man, because you don't have to do anything. All you do is give away money. You sit in your office and look at bids.
Over $1.3 million. It is a task order based, and the cost is included in the facilities maintenance operating budget. As far as diversity, Ortiz workforce is 66.6% minority and 16.6%.
Yeah, I mean, this is big with the Democrats. I mean, you know, I wish, you know, that this virtue signaling, it does not, you know, Portland is the whitest city in America. It really is. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the virtue signaling is annoying. You know, it's just annoying.
Women. The company has identified 4 DBE firms with subcontract work. I ask you for your approval. Both Karen Powell and Roland Hoskins is available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Bruce has dropped off, is that right?
That's correct.
I believe so.
Okay.
And
are there any questions?
Sorry, Director Bauman, I will also be leaving at noon.
Okay, thank you. We'll still have a quorum, I believe. But we may get through the resolutions before you need to go. So are there any questions for staff regarding this resolution?
I had a question. I didn't find if Ortiz and Associates, the recommended vendor, are themselves certified minority or women-owned or veteran-owned. Are they?
Thank you, Director Gonzalez. They are not, as a firm, individually certified, although you see from their numbers they should qualify. And the district has worked closely with Ortiz on over a number of contracts.
Yeah, I've seen them around. I remember them even.
For quite some time now, and continue to encourage them to work with our very able business partners in our equity group to see if they can pursue registration.
Thank you. I certainly echoed the sentiment of the agency. If Ortiz and Associates qualifies, I would love to see them be able to pursue that certification in addition to the subcontracting.
Thank you. And again, this is not my area of expertise, but it does seem to me that they would be a viable candidate for that qualification. And on that basis, we do continue to encourage them to pursue it.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Can I hear a motion to approve Resolution 21?
Here's your next board chairman, Lori Bauman. Ugh.
Second?
A fucking corporate lawyer.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion of this resolution? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of Resolution 21-03-13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nobody.
Any abstentions?
There goes Ozzy. Goodbye, Ozzy.
The resolution passes.
Unanimous. Who would have believed
I want everyone to know I'm doing this without a script.
Atta girl. Well, you're a lawyer. You got a good memory.
All right. Thank you. Next
Lawyers
order of
have good
business
memories.
is Resolution 21-03-14. authorizing a contract modification with North Coast Electric Company to provide LED lighting.
All right, they want more money. So they already got, they want an extra $400,000 on top of the $1,100,000. They got $1,110,000. They want another 348. And it's capital projects, so you can do that there.
Fixtures and controls at various Trimet facilities. Mr. General Manager.
Thanks, Director Bauman. And board, this is the last resolution before you today to request a modification to the contract with North Coast Electric Company. This is a company that has been providing extensive LED lighting upgrades to Trimet facilities. Those upgrades are in response to a fire inspection that found existing lighting fixtures at Trimet facilities were no longer code compliant and beyond their useful life. That inspection was done in June of last year. Fast forward to last December, you may recall approving a resolution for a contract modification to continue lighting retrofits at several additional Trimet facilities. Those repairs are well underway and nearing completion. Now, what's unique about this contract is that it was procured with a special process authorizing the state of Oregon known as a piggyback procurement. And it gave Trimet the opportunity to take advantage of a competitively bid unit pricing for the lighting fixture and controls. This program is administered through the Energy Trust of Oregon, and the agency has agreed to extend incentive programs to allow Trimet to complete additional projects at a much lower cost. We have identified 2 additional facilities where lighting upgrades are critical, and those are the Robinson Tunnel Bores and the Gateway Park and Ride. The resolution before you would increase the contract amount for North Coast by just under $349,000 to complete these projects. The cost is included in the Maintenance Division's FY21 to 22 operating budget. A note on diversity: North Coast workforce is 13.5% minority and 17.4% female. And I ask for your approval. Again, Karen Powell and Roland Hoskins is available for any questions. Thank you.
All right, any questions from the board?
Director Irish Bauman. Oh, I beg your pardon. Yes. I didn't mean to interrupt
please.
you. This is Karen Powell. In the absence of questions, if I may, I would just like to share a brief financial update on the first 4 locations. May I do so?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm very happy to report that we have fully replaced all of the high bay lights in our garages and rail yards, and it came in even more financially advantageous to Trimet than we had initially calculated. The calculations are very complex for these projects and are revisited several times throughout the process, so they can fluctuate. And I'm very happy to report that for our first 4 locations, Center Garage and Yard, Ruby Main, South, Yard, and the 5 outbuildings at Ruby, the Merlot Garage at Yard, and the Elmo Garage and Yard are coming in at a total cost to Trimet of less than $685,000. And that total cost of, it's actually $683,600, is offset by over $1 million in incentive and rebate funds from the Energy Trust of Oregon. So we are just thrilled to be able to move forward Trimet's safety initiatives, because these lights are significantly enhancing safety in these locations, as well as supporting Trimet's climate action goals. So it has been a very successful program for us, and we thank you for allowing us to move forward with it before and your consideration of continuing.
Thank you. It's clearly a win-win at a good price to Trimet pursuing those goals.
Indeed.
I don't know if you can see my hand raised.
Keith, I do now. Yes, you have a question.
Okay, thank you. I more of a kind of a question comment. Do we track the savings that we have because LED lighting versus the previous lighting system, and how much that is saving, so that the public has a better understanding of the reasons for this? You know, I know the reasons are, code related as well, but also the huge savings that and the life of the life expectancy of the new systems that are being installed?
Oh, thank you for that question, Director Edwards. It is very material to this conversation. And in fact, we have been working with our partners in the Finance and Accounting Division on devising a method to track the savings.
Boy, this Karen Powell knows how to talk, doesn't she?
The moment, the savings for all of those locations is forecast at about $330,000 a year. There is a little bit of complexity to tracking the savings on into the future, and that is the result of the fact that there are many different pieces of equipment that are powered from the same meter, from the same utility account. So at the same time that we're reducing our consumption with these efficient fixtures, we're also adding consumption when we upgrade, when we add new equipment, pull in new outlets, etc. So there's a little bit of art and a little bit of science to it, and we are focusing on that right now to see how we can best accomplish that.
Okay. All right. Well, she knows.
All right. Any other questions?
Didn't see that one.
Ozzy here.
Ozzy.
Just wanted to add a short perspective on the fact that we are unleashing a great story here, and you know it'll make it a home run. We're creating green jobs now. We're moving towards climate responsive and safety enhanced strategies. This is fantastic. I encourage the vendors that are part of this to take advantage of any subcontracting opportunities and hiring opportunities to ensure that the future of green jobs in our region are diverse and representative and are bringing up folks from all communities. So thank you for the work, and thank you to our staff for being part of this and helping communicate the value proposition.
Thank you, Director Gonzalez, and we certainly will continue to encourage our vendors and our suppliers to strengthen their ties with our disadvantaged business communities. It is an important goal for us all.
How cute Ozzy is with his family here.
All right. If there are no further questions, I'll invite a motion to approve Resolution 21-03-14.
Laverne seconds.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Nope.
And all those in favor of Resolution 21-03-14, please signify by saying aye.
Oh, I can see Ms. Bauman here is very...
All opposed? And any abstentions? The resolution passes. And that is the end of...
All right, we're going to cut it here. I can see Ms. Bowman is very competent in handling a meeting, as we can see immediately. I'm not particularly fond of her opinions on things, but we can see she knows how to handle a meeting. All right, so that's enough for this segment. See you later.